South Africa, Argentina could be maybe the stand to be corrected again between those two nations who got a bulk, about 99% of their teams are all born and bred in those countries. The rest of the world is very mixed, you know. Again, guys, it's us maybe holding on to traditional what we understand, and we become to a global world.
I disagree with that. I think there's a real. There must be culture. There must be something more playing for a national side. And if you take out a passport, it takes you 5 years to become a nationalised Scot or a nationalised Welshman or Englishman. But you can play in 3 years. I don't understand why you shouldn't wait 5 years. You know, once you've taken out a passport for that country, you've showed commitment. But what's happening now is people are playing for a country, and then they go straight back to their country of birth. You know,
so they can play again for their own country.
And they can play again.
Yeah, that's happened, eh?
Yeah,
Jean Klein.
Jean Klein. But one of the. Was it Sevilla, I think, as well? He's played for New Zealand, looking to play for Samoa. So you've got to, I mean, my view is give it 5 years. That shows the individual. He goes over at 20. By the time he's 25, he becomes a fully Scottish passport and he plays for that country. That's commitment.
All right, so there it is as well. So we have a look in terms of the autumn series on the go. And those are the South African players?
Yeah, South African boys.
so guys, that debate comes out as well. If they stayed in South Africa, would they play Springboks?
Yeah, it's difficult. I actually had an interview yesterday with a Scottish writer, and he asked me. And then I think Edouard van der Merwe, I mean, he must be one of the best wingers in the world. But then I think, how many test matches would he have played in South Africa? Piers Koeman.
Yeah.
How many would he have played? Yeah. I mean, he was captain of the SA Under-19 team. I mean, if you think about the props, how many games would he have played? Yeah. So I just said, I'm happy for them. I think what they've achieved in rugby, what they've done with their careers is fantastic. And although I feel you have to play a certain amount, and I really don't think you can just go back and play for your country again, because you make a commitment. You say, listen, I'm playing for this country. That's what I decide. I'm playing for Japan. And I mean, these guys playing for Japan, they don't earn a cent playing for Japan, but the effort they put in to play for that nation, they play for that jersey is just unbelievable. So they Japanese players, although they're from Tonga or Fiji or South Africa, they give their full commitment, and that's great. But I just feel you can't go back and then go play for Tonga or South Africa or wherever.
Peter de Villiers, when I coached Stade Francais, Peter de Villiers played over 70, 80 caps for France. He was a committed French rugby player. He probably wouldn't have played in South Africa as a tight head prop, but he had a magnificent career. But he committed himself, and he took out a French passport.
You know, my other thought process here, we talk about world rugby trying to make sure they generate an income for themselves, not to make it every 4 years. What about the investment of the local leagues? You know, we're part of URC.
Yes.
You know, so I'm thinking of Portugal, all those smaller unions whereby how competitive is their internal leagues? You know, can somebody go and say, I want to play decent semi-pro or pro in Argentina? I think that's also another gap that rugby people cannot forget. Make sure you invest in your local game. You know, make Currie Cup strong again. Because it feeds to the national setup. You
need money for it. At the moment, people are saying there's not enough money in the professional game. So now we're having to, to put it down into a B or C section. Sport is only professional when it draws crowds. You've got to actually have a full crowd there. Then you can say, right, we can get sponsors there, we get television rights there. But if you go and you see a game that's played between, I don't know, two teams and there may be 150 people there, you can't be paying those guys a salary to play rugby just because it's a nice thing to do. You have to generate a crowd.
And again, the World Cup makes a big difference. So, again, I spoke... Firstly, I mean, the Portuguese guys, they go play in France Pro D2. That's professional. So they get opportunity there to play professional rugby, and they go back to Portugal. Not a lot of them. There was 9 or 10 in this Portugal team. In Japan, I spoke to the guys, and they said, yes, they have that brilliant game in 2015, of course, where they beat South Africa. They said even before that, rugby wasn't that big in Japan. And it wasn't that victory. It was the World Cup coming to Japan that all of a sudden put the money into the game. All of a sudden, all the clubs started investing. They pulled all the biggest players in the world, and rugby just exploded because of the World Cup, coming to Japan in 2019. So everyone has been waiting for America to explode, and it hasn't happened. But what's going to happen those 4 years before the World Cup goes to America? Will it happen? Will the money start flowing into rugby, and will rugby explode in America?